देवी महालक्ष्मी पॉलिटेक्निक टिटवाळा, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ कंप्यूटर इंजीनियरिंग एंड इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी, semester 3rd, subject DMS or POD. Myself Miss Anita Shirture. This chapter is given for 16 marks and chapter's name is PLSQL. In previous video we have discussed about the PLSQLs, why use PLSQLs in SQL Server, and something remaining topics about the PLSQL. Now, in this video, we will learn about the procedure and the functions. How to use the procedure functions in PLSQL language. Learning outcome of this video. The procedure parameters in PLSQL, methods for passing parameters, functions, and difference between the functions and procedure. In this video, we have discussed about the procedure and the functions and how many parameters are, which parameters are used in the PLSQL and functions also, and how to execute the passing parameters with using procedures, and these methods are involved in this video. So, the contents of this video we have take. So, the first is procedure. First of all, we will see what is the subprogram. Then, in this chapter, we will discuss procedures in a PLSQL. A subprogram is a program, unit or module that performs a particular task. These subprograms are combined to form larger programs. This is basically called the modular design. A subprogram can be invoked by another subprograms or programs, which is called calling program. A subprogram can be created at the schema level, inside a package, inside a PLSQL block. At the schema level, subprograms is a stand-alone subprograms. It is created with the create procedure or the create function statement. It is stored in the database and can be deleted with the drop procedure or drop function statement. A subprogram created inside a package is a package subprogram. It is stored in the database and can be deleted only when the package is deleted with the drop package statement. The PLSQL subprograms are named PLSQL blocks that can be invoked with a set of parameters. PLSQL provides two kinds of subprograms, and these are the functions and procedure. The functions, these subprograms return a single value, mainly used to compute and return a value. And procedure, these subprograms do not return a value directly, mainly used to perform an action. This chapter is going to cover the important aspects of PLSQL procedure, and we will discuss the PLSQL functions in the after that the procedure. So the procedure, a procedure is a group of PLSQL statement that you can call by name. A procedure is a module performing one or more actions. It does not need to return any value. The creating a procedure. A procedure is created with the create or replace procedure statement. The simplified syntax for the create or replace procedure statement is as follows. The create or replace procedure. I have already explained, but now in this slide, the procedure name specifies the name of the procedure. Or replace options allows modifying an existing procedure. In represents that value will be passed from outside, and out represents that this parameter will be used to return a value outside of the procedure. Procedure body contains the executable part. The AS keywords is used instead of the IS keyword for creating a standalone procedure. The following example creates a simple procedure that displays the string hello world on the screen when executed. Create or replace procedure greetings as begin dbms underscore output dot put underscore line in bracket hello world, then end. Then hello world is the procedure body. Then when the above code is executed using the SQL prompt, it will produce the following: executing a standalone procedure. A standalone procedure can be called into two ways. The first is the using the execute keyword, and second, calling the name of the procedure from a PL SQL block. The above procedure's name greetings can be called with a execute keyword. The above call will display hello world and then PL SQL procedure successfully completed. The PL SQL can also be called from the another PL SQL call begin, then greetings semicolon end semicolon. The above call will display hello world PL SQL procedure successfully completed. Then the deleting a standalone procedure. The syntax of this syntax are given here. But what is deleting a standalone procedure? Then a standalone procedure is deleted with a drop procedure statement. Syntax for the deleting a procedure is drop procedure and then procedure name, then semicolon. Then you can drop the greetings parameters modes in PL SQLs. Then the first is in. An in operator parameters lets you pass a value to the subprograms. It is a read-only parameters. Inside the subprograms, an in parameter acts like a constant. It cannot be assigned a value. You can pass a constant, literal, initialize variables or expressions as an in parameter. You can also initialize it to default value. However, in that case, it is omitted from the subprogram's call. It is the default mode of a parameter. Passings, the parameters are passed by reference. Next is the out. An out parameters returns a value to the calling program. Next is in out. An in out parameters passes an initial value to the subprograms and returns an updated value to the call. It can be assigned a value and the value can be read. The actual parameters corresponding to an in-out formal parameters must be variable, not a constant or an expression. Formal parameters must be assigned a value. Actual parameter is passed by a value. In-out example. These programs find a minimum of two values. Here the procedure takes two numbers using the in mode and returns their minimum using the out parameters. The declare. Three numbers are declared here: A number, B number, C number. Then procedure. Find min in bracket x in number, y in number and z out number. Then is is begin. If x is less than y, then z is equal to x and else z is equal to y. And if end semicolon, the begin a is equal to 23, parameters are passing here 23, b is equal to 45. Then the another example of in and out mode example. This procedure computes the square of a value of a pass value. This example shows how we can use the same parameter to accept a value and then return another result. So they declare a number, procedure square num, then x in out number is begin, x is colon is equal to x into semicolon, end begin, a is equal to 23, square name a, dbms output square of 23. Then when the above code is executed at the SQL prompt, it produces the following result: square of 23 is equal. Next topic is methods for passing parameters. Actual parameters can be passed in three ways. The first is positional notation, second is named notation, and third is mixed notation. So the positional notation, name notations and mixed notation, these are notation, the three ways of providing the passing the actual parameters. And so one by one we will I will explain the position. Executing a standalone procedure. A standalone procedure can be called into two ways. The first is the using the execute keyword, and second calling the name of the procedure from a PL SQL block. The above procedure's name greetings can be called with a execute keyword. The above call will display hello world and then PL SQL procedure successfully completed. Then name notations. In name notations, the actual parameter is associated with the formal parameter using the arrow symbols is equal to is greater than. The procedure calls will be like to create the find minimum in bracket x is equal to is greater than a, y is equal to greater than b, z is equal to greater than c, m is equal to greater than d. Next is the mix in out example. These programs find a minimum of two values. Here the procedure takes two numbers using the in mode and returns their minimum using the out parameters. The declare. Three numbers are declared here: A number, B number, C number. Then procedure. Find min in bracket x in number, y in number and z out number. Next is the functions. The functions are type of stored code and are very similar to procedure. The significant difference is that a functions is a PL SQL block that returns a single value. Functions can accept one, many or no parameters but functions must have a return clause in the executable sections of the functions. The data type of the return value must be declared in the in the header of the functions. A function is not a standalone executable in the way that a procedure is. It must be used. Then creating of functions. Create or replace functions, function name. This is the similar of the procedure. The parameters name in out, then type, return data type is as begin less than or equal to functions body and then function name. I will explain these are the functions, these are the parameters in the next line. The function name specify the name of the functions or replace options allows modifying an existing function. The optional parameter list contains name, mode and types of the parameters. In represents that value will be passed from outside. The out represents that these parameters will be used to return a value outside of the procedure. The function must contain a return statement. The return clause this specify the data type you are going to return from the function. Next, the following example illustrate creating a calling a standalone function. This function returns the total number of customers in the customer tables. We will use the customer table which we had created in a PL/SQL variable chapter. Select star from customers. The customers is the table name. Then when this code is executed, that times it create the customers table. Then ID, name, age, address, salary are given. Six employees ID is given there. Their name. We have seen the customers table, and then after that the create or replace functions. Total customers. Return number is total number of 2. Then begin select count star into total from the customers, return total and then end. When the above code is executed, the PL/SQL then calling functions. While creating a functions, you give a definitions of what the functions has to do. To use a functions, you will have to call that function to perform the defined task. When a program calls a function, the program control is transferred to the call function. A call function performs the defined task, and when its return statement is executed or when the last end statement is reached, it returns the program control back to the main program. To call a functions, you simply need to pass the required parameters along with the function name, and if the function returns a value, the examples of the functions declare C number of 2. Begin C is colon is equal to total customers in bracket DBMS output line total number of the customers is perpendicular to C, then end. When the above code is executed at the SQL, then it produces the results. Then next is PL/SQL recursive functions. We have seen that the programs or subprograms may call another subprograms. When a subprogram calls itself, it is referred to as a recursive call, and the process is known as recursion. The following program calculates the factorial of a given number by calling itself recursively. Then declare num number, factorial number, functions, fact, then x number, already you have known about the factorial, how to calculate the factorial numbers in a C programming language. So here in a PLSQL language we have to get the factorial number from this given number, and then the functions fact x number are given, the return value is number, then begin. If x is equal to 0, then f is followed is equal to 1, else f is equal to x into factorial number, the fact is x minus 1. These are the formula of the calculate the factorial number. Then end if, return f, end begin. Num is equal to 6, factorial is equal to fact num. DVMS output line factorial is num is fact. Then output is here. When the above code is executed at SQL prompt, it produces the following result. Factorial 6 is given there, so factorial 6 is 720. Now next slide, the difference between the procedure and the functions. A procedure does not have a return value, whereas a functions has the create or replace procedure and my procedure, then parameters in variable 1 where characters to John as beginning. Then the functions is there, the create or replace functions, my function, parameters name in variable. Next is the procedure can perform one or more tasks, whereas the function performs a specific task. Okay. Then procedures may or may not return the value, whereas function should return one value. Then we can call functions in a select statements, whereas procedures we can't. We can call functions within a procedure, but we cannot call procedure within function. A function must be part of an executable statement, as it cannot be executed independently, whereas the procedures represents an independent executable statements.